Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Every Man Has a Story. I apologize. I had a guest scheduled for this morning from America. Retired gentleman who lived in Kentucky. Sounded like he had a pretty interesting life. I confirmed with him last night, but with the time difference and everything, it's 12 hours difference. I don't know if he forgot or got the time wrong or whatever, but I haven't heard from him this morning. Um, these things happen when you're doing these live streams with people from other countries. So hopefully, if he comes on, if he logs on during the live stream, we'll bring him onto the conversation. If not, let's just have an open discussion today. Um, yeah, any questions you've got, happy to answer them. Any subjects you want to talk, just kind of stay away from, politics and religion and conspiracy theories. Let's talk about what's going on in your life. Any questions you've got for me? If you follow my channel, my girlfriend Jen's channel, she did a video the other day on an update on her parents' house. Some of you may know about this and some of you may not, but long story short, about 9 months ago, I was at her house and I'd never been inside. We're always outside. It's a small house. And I went inside and I saw the conditions of it, dirt floor, the walls weren't even finished all the way around. It had nothing but a little hose coming into it and a wire for electricity. So I just thought, maybe I could do something. So I said, well, if you'll work on the house. I talked to her father and two brothers that both know how to build stuff. Your father actually works not as a carpenter, but as a worker. And I said, if you guys will do the work, I'll buy the materials. And every Sunday, because that's the only day they have off, every Sunday, we can get a little something done on the house. So that's what we did for several months. And little by little, we were making improvements. And I did a video about it. And I put a link on there to my PayPal account and said, if someone wants to donate, great. And a few people did. And then one gentleman who saw a video on Jen's YouTube channel, Every Woman Has a Story, where she interviewed her sister. She has her sister on a lot. They kind of do videos together. Anyway, he was interested in her sister. She's single, Charlene. And he said, oh, please, send her my contact information. I'd love to just talk to her. And so we spoke to her and she said, okay, fine. So we sent her his email address. Then we stepped away from the whole thing. Well, anyway, they started chatting. And she had a cell phone, but it wasn't a very good one. It's one actually that Jen had given, an old one that she had before I bought her a phone. And he wanted to buy her a phone, so he sent her like $500, and she bought a really nice phone. And next thing you know, guy sending her $500 like almost every week, without her asking for it. She wasn't trying to get money out of the guy, nothing. And they're chatting back and forth. And he'd seen the video about the house, said he wanted to help with the house, wanted to get involved in that. So he started sending her money for the house. Make a long story short, he sent a lot of money. It was, I think it totaled up to 300,000 pesos, which, whatever that comes out to be, it's like $5,000-6,000 something. And I'd put in about 1,000 myself, plus I had another 400 or 500 put in by, my subscribers. Well, anyway, the plan on the house was just to do the floors, do the walls, do the roof, redo the CR, and that was it. But once this guy started sending money, they quit even consulting me, the family, not Jim, but the family, father and the sons mostly. And they added a room, they added a piggery, to raise pigs in the back. They decided to put in a tile floor. They decided to put in a steel roof, which I never understood that. I mean, with steel trusses supporting the roof. Before it was all done with wood. And so they had to buy a welder, and one thing led to another. They bought all this stuff. And the project, became way bigger, way, way, way bigger than my original plan. And then as these things go, this guy just disappeared off the face of the earth. He sent her all this money. They were chatting back and forth, and he probably found somebody else, and he quit messaging her and quit sending money, and it all dried up. And now they're stuck. The house is like 75% done. And I basically told them, I said, look, I'm out of it. I'm not going to get involved anymore. And so they can they've got, the two pigs they can sell. They've got the welder that they paid like 7,000 pesos for. They can sell that. And I just said, you're on your own now. Anyway, that's where that's at. So if you saw that video, I'm on there a little bit, kind of explaining what's going on. But I just wanted people to know what happened with that project. There's still their house is, 10 times nicer than it was. It's got concrete floors through 75% of it. All the walls are done. We rebuilt the CR, which is the bathroom, and did a lot of other repairs. So anyway, so what do you guys want to talk about? Every man has a story. I'd say that's me. Mark, are you and Jim breaking up over family demands to build out? No, we're not even. She's totally cool. She's told me she doesn't want me putting more money in. She's the one who told me that. He said, no, I don't want you to, do any more. And she's the one that said, don't do any more. Don't spend any more money. She put in some of her own money too. She put in like 9,000 pesos one time to buy rock and gravel and cement. So, yeah, no, we're fine with it. We saw them last night. I went to a wedding yesterday and they were there. There's no hard feelings. It's just, I'm not, for 300,000 pesos, they should have been able to do, they would have been able to do everything that I wanted to do and then some. But since they added on all these other things, plus bought things they didn't really need, they did do a couple other things they shouldn't have done with the money. They had a birthday party for her brother. They had another party for a festival that was taking place in their barangay, and spent, I don't know what they spent on that. And they bought her brother bought some speakers that were $9,000, which he definitely didn't need those. And which they hooked up to a karaoke machine that her cousin or uncle gave him or something. So there was money wasted. But, when the big money with those wasted, instead of doing the work themselves, which was the deal, they hired workers to come in and work with them and do most of the work. And they were paying these guys 500 pesos a day, which is a little over $10 a day. And last time I went over there, like about a month ago on a Sunday, had like 5 guys all working like a big construction project. And that wasn't the deal. It was supposed to be done little by little. And I was paying for all the supplies and they were going to do the work. That was the deal. I made it very, very clear. But once this other guy started giving money, which went through to Jen's sister, didn't go to me, and then she was buying the supplies and spending the money, they just, didn't ask me anything. And I just said, fine, went over there and watched them do the work and stuff, and still did a couple of videos. But as far as I was concerned, I was done. And now that, the money's dried up, oh well. So what else is going on, guys? Come on, ask me some questions. There's 38 people out there. What do you want to talk about? I'm sorry that my guest didn't show up. This happens sometimes. He was 74 years old. He had a flip phone, and he had a computer, but he didn't have a camera on the computer. So he had one of those webcams he was going to try and hook up to his computer with a microphone. So I didn't have my hopes up last night that he'd actually get it all working. It's, a senior citizen, 74 years old, so I can understand. But we'll try again with them. I wanted to, I sent him a link earlier this morning, so I thought we could maybe test it and work things out, but I haven't heard from him. And I do have another guy I've been trying to get on the show. Very interesting. He's a friend of a friend. He lives in Egypt. He's an Egyptian. He's a Egyptologist, but also an artist, a really good artist. And we've been trying to get him on the show, and we linked him up with StreamYard and everything. But for some reason, I couldn't get his video to show up on the show. I just click on it, nothing would happen. And so he was going to try another computer, but the time difference is really weird there. It's like right now it's like 3 o'clock in the morning there in Egypt. So I got to find a time in the afternoon. I'm usually busy in the afternoon. Like yesterday I was going to try, but we had a wedding to go to. So anyways, how does her family, Mike Ross, how does her family earn an income? They can't save and slowly finish the house. Well, Mike, her father, like I said, is a laborer on construction sites, and he's in his late 50s. He makes about 500 pesos a day, $10 a day, so $60 a week is what he makes. Her brother, Jesse, works as a maintenance guy at the market downtown. He's bringing in about 3,000 pesos a month, which is about $150. Yeah, a little over $100 a month. No less than $100 a month. 3,000 pesos. That'd be $60 a month. He's making $60 a month. And then the mother has a food stand on the side of the road, and basically she loses money with that. I don't know why they even have it, but she spends more on the food and than she makes on it, and so we've kind of convinced her to give that up. And so that's all the money they've got coming in. They don't have a mortgage payment. All they've got is their water bill and their electricity, which I think runs $1,000 a month or less, probably less than that. Because all they've got is a refrigerator and lights and fans, you know. But anyway, that's how they earn their money. And then Jen and I have been helping them, you know, pretty much on a regular basis, you know, this, that, and the other things, you know, little things, but with food and everything. So that's kind of where that's at. Yeah, I tried to do my best, Sharky. I tried to do my best, and still, like when we go over there, we'll take food and stuff, and we'll, you know, from time to time, give money for things. But I'm not going to be the guy that. I don't think you should be supporting your girlfriend's family. We talked about the other day. My friend Paul did a whole video on this on Old Dog New Tricks, and I agree with everything he said. If you're in America and you marry somebody, you have a girlfriend, you're not going to support their family. And that's kind of the way I see it here. And plus, I'm not a wealthy guy. I've got my YouTube channel, my Social Security, and that's it. So I'm not. I made it clear I was going to do that from the beginning. And Jen never wanted me to. When we first started dating, every once in a while I said, "Why don't you hear some? You know, give your mother 500 pesos or something." She didn't want to do it, and she's never asked me for money to give to her parents. And when this whole thing with the house happened, Jen's kind of upset too that they decided to go in a whole nother direction without even consulting me and change, and just basically, you know, the whole deal we had, they just kind of threw that away when they thought they had a better deal with Jen's sisters. You know, because it wasn't her boyfriend, this guy that was communicating with her. And guys out there, it's a lesson to all of you. I mean, this guy sent like $6,000 to a girl he had never met in his whole life. He had sent her $1,000 before he even video chatted with her. He hadn't even had a conversation on the phone with her. He sent her all this money. I mean, and her sister's not trying to scam anybody. She's just a 23-year-old girl, innocent, never had a boyfriend. And this guy, American in his 50s, starts sending her money and chatting with her. Sure, she's going to take it. I mean, wouldn't you? If you're very, very poor and somebody's sending you money. But and guys don't do that. You can help them out with like load for their phone if they don't have internet. But these girls, you know, we'll say the same thing. They'll say, "Oh, I don't have a cell phone. I don't have my computer broke. My cell phone got stolen. We can't pay the electricity. My father's in the hospital. My mother's sick." I mean, I've heard it all. And these guys, they send the money to a girl they don't even know. Now, it may be different if you've got a girlfriend and you've been over there and you've met her and you spent time with her and you think you've got a relationship. Maybe that's a little bit different. Like you saw my interview with, I think it was Danny, but he's in for over $40,000 for a girl he spent 3 weeks with. He's already built her a house, built her a sorry store. So, I mean, don't do that. You know, come over here if you have a Filipino girlfriend online, you met online, come here, meet her in person, meet the family, and then decide if it's a serious relationship. But I don't recommend giving these girls a bunch of money because they don't know how to handle it. That was a problem with her family. And when her sister was getting $500 a week, that's an astronomical amount of money for your average Filipino. And so they thought they were rich. They thought they'd hit the lottery and they were going to get that money forever. And I tried to tell her Jen's sister, I said, "Look, you know, this isn't going to last forever. I've seen this before. He might disappear tomorrow." And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So, and then all of a sudden, like the money runs out, and then they're right back where they were before because they didn't save anything. I said, "Open a bank account." Jen was going to take her down and get her a bank account so she could, you know, save some money. And she didn't, you know, she bought herself a cell phone. They bought some speakers, you know, they bought the pigs, which I still don't get behind the pigs. That's a losing investment. I mean, they're noisy, they're dirty. And eventually they're going to sell them or slaughter them, you know, and I don't know. And you're not going to make much money off 2 pigs. But it costs a lot of money to buy the pigs and to build a piggery to keep them in, you know, with the workers and the cement and all those supplies and stuff. So anyway, she was visibly upset. How did Jen's brother get access to the speaker money? That's a good question, Art. I think that Charlene just gave it to him. I don't know what happened there, but he spent 9,000 pesos on 2 speakers. And I confronted him about it. I said, where did you get the money to buy that? He kept saying it was money that he had extra from his school, but it wasn't. He's got no money at all. And it came from, these donations. And I just, when I saw that, that's before that this guy actually cut off sending money. As soon as I saw the speaker, I said, okay, that's it. I'm out. I'm not sending you guys not giving you any more money because you're wasting it. And so, that's where we are today. They've got the speakers and they bought a welder. And I looked online, like on Shopee, which is like their version of Amazon over here. And you can get a little welder that would do the job for like, say, $30. But they bought, the great big one, and it was like 8,000 pesos, 5,000 pesos is $100, just to give you an idea. So you can do the math. But anyway, they're not bad people. It's just they don't know how to handle money. They have no idea how to handle money. And they borrow money to, for example, over here, everybody buys things on installments as far as like, cars, motorcycles, things like that, which is, financing. And they have no idea what the interest rate is. They have no idea what the final tally is going to be when they pay that item off. And then they borrow money from these loan sharks. They're everywhere. And you need 1,000 pesos. You can go to this person and borrow 1,000 pesos, and you're going to pay probably like 40-50% interest. And that's what her mother was doing. Every time she needed money, she'd just go borrow money. And then she couldn't pay it back, and she got in trouble. Jen told me before we met that one day they came home and all their animals were dead. And she said, oh, we think, they started talking evil spirits and all this crap. And then they said, oh, maybe the neighbors did it. Why would the neighbors do that to us? We've known them our whole life. Most of the neighbors are related anyway. And it wasn't that. I said, look, it wasn't the neighbors. Your mother obviously owes money to somebody. She didn't pay it back, and that's their revenge. That's how things work here. So anyway, anytime, if you earn your own money, they take more care of it. When you don't have money, they just don't understand how to use it. I agree with you. It's 100%. I told Jen that when we first started dating. I said, because I was giving her a little bit of money. I don't believe in the allowance thing. That's like, paying a girl to be your girlfriend. I don't believe in that. So anyway, I would give her money and then it'd be gone, the next day because she bought something she didn't need or she gave it to her family, whatever. And before I met Jen, she had 2 jobs, over like, she's 26 now, but she had 2 jobs for like over a year each. One was a housemaid where she was basically the slave of a family, cleaning up the poop from a lady who had Alzheimer's, cleaning the house, doing the laundry, doing the dishes, cleaning the yard. I mean, doing anything they wanted to do 7 days a week for 3,000 pesos a month, for $60 a month. And then she had another job as a sales lady at the mall, at the bakery, 6 days a week. Again, like, $60 a month. I said, Jen, every time you spend money on anything, you have to think back of those crappy jobs you had and how hard you had to work to make 1,000 pesos as a third of your money you made, for the entire month working 6 days a week. And I'm trying to get her to understand, that, you have to look at what it took you to earn that money, not that you just got it for doing nothing. And so she's getting better at it, but she's still like, buys little things online sometimes that she doesn't need. Like she's got 4 cell phone cases. I mean, they cost what, $3-4 a piece, but I mean, still, I don't believe in wasting money, even though I'm doing, much better now than I ever did. And, back when I was back in America, the last 10 years, I still don't blow money. I don't spend money on things I don't need. So anyway, people without money have a hard time learning to handle it. So true. No, as a matter of fact, side on the vaccine, I went down. I did register online twice. We went down to our barangay to get vaccinated yesterday or the day before. I can't remember. I went down there. I had a big basketball hall all set up with tables and everything. Went in there, filled out the form, sat down, and then they asked me, "So where do you live?" Told them, literally right down the street. Oh no, we're not doing your barangay yet. We're doing another one. They're doing people from Valencia, which is like half hour away. They're vaccinating them there, but they wouldn't vaccinate somebody that actually lives there. So filled out more forms. Actually went to the Barangay Hall here and filled out another form. And so apparently they're going to come to the house and vaccinate me someday. Who knows when? But I'm going to get vaccinated. I'm not concerned about, you know, any of the conspiracy theories about vaccinations. Like I said, I'm working on cruise ships. I've been vaccinated, you know, so many times, and I was in the Navy before that, and I've had thousands of not thousands, I mean lots and lots of vaccinations. Never had a problem. So they're trying to take over my brain with 5G or kill me. So be it. But I just want to be able to travel. I want the freedom of, you know, proving I'm vaccinated, so I can go and see my kids, and go to England, go to America. Anyway, so King of Clowns, you don't give her an allowance, but you give her money. No, it's not a contradiction at all. It's not a contradiction. An allowance is like you get X amount of dollars every week, you know, for being my girlfriend. You know, that's paying someone to have sex with you. That's what that is. You know, what I do is, you know, we're together 24/7. So every once in a while, like she's going out with her girlfriends to the mall, say, hey, how much money is she? I got 300 pesos. Okay, here's another 500. So she's got money. And then she's got her little YouTube channel. She makes a little bit of money off that too, but that's what I do. And, you know, if she wants to buy something, we talk about it. If it's something I think, you know, I don't mind her getting, I'll get it for her. But that's how we do it. But I'm not going to pay her to be my girlfriend. And you guys can do what you want, you know, but I know guys who are dating a girl before they even dated her. This girl wanted to negotiate her allowance and negotiate how much money her parents are going to get. And the guy agreed to it. He said, okay, I'll give your parents, you know, 20,000 pesos a month, and I'll give you, you know, 10,000 pesos a week. And they agree to this whole thing before they even go on a date. That's prostitution, man. Hi, Russ. How you doing? Mark Norris, the IATF announced that they will not recognize vaccines from other countries. Any tourists have to receive their vaccines only in the Philippines. Yet all international airports are now open. It's bizarre, Mark. It's so bizarre. I mean, they keep changing everything. I mean, it changes by the day here. That's the thing about the Philippines will drive you crazy. They just, and also that it's like there's 7,000 islands here. So what they do on Negros and what they do, you know, in Manila is totally different. So it's just, you can't change the country. You just have to roll with it. That's all you can do. But hopefully I'll get the vaccine, a vaccine. Who knows what it's going to be, but I'll get it eventually. I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in other videos that I had COVID way back in 2019. It was like December of 2019. And I was really sick for 7 weeks, had all the symptoms, and except my friends were too. And that's before they even gave it a name. So I'm pretty sure if I had it, I have some immunity. I don't know how much. Anytime, Mark, would it be a good idea for the school system to educate kids with financial education? Yeah, it'd be a great idea. It didn't happen in America, man. I grew up in the 70s, okay? I was in college in 1974. Okay, I graduated high school in 1974. My mother gave me a check to buy books, right? So I go to the bookstore with this check. I didn't know how to fill out a check. I was 19 years old. I did not have any idea how to fill out a check, let alone balance a checkbook. And I didn't know anything about credit cards. I didn't know anything about anything, you know. I did have, oddly enough, I had really good credit because I bought a motorcycle, a Suzuki 250 Savage, and my father co-signed for it. And the payments were like $40 a month, and I made all the payments and paid it off. And then I bought a color TV when I was working at Sears and got my Sears credit card, paid that off. And so when I was like 20 years old, I had really good credit. But, you know, I didn't go up buying a bunch of stuff with it. Why did you choose Philippines over? That's a good question, Neil. Why did I choose the Philippines over Thailand? I was actually going to go to Thailand. I'd been to Phuket back, over 30 years ago when I worked on one of my first cruise ships. Only there for a day, overnight. And it was really nice. And anyway, now they've just changed all the rules there. Now the visas are harder to get. You have to have health insurance to be there. And so for that reason, I decided to try the Philippines first. They speak English here, and I knew a lot of Filipinos when I worked on cruise ships. And I was going to stay here for a couple of weeks, and here it is, you know, almost 2 years, and I'm having a great time. It looks like my guest is here, guys. So let's try and see if we can get him on. Hold on.
Hey,
Paul, are you there?
yeah, I'm here. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so glad you got here. I didn't know if we got the times wrong or what, but you're here. So everybody, I want to introduce you to Paul, my new friend. And you're in Kentucky, is that right, Paul?
Oh yeah, that's right. How are you?
He's in. I'm good. I lived in Louisville, Kentucky for a long time out there in Veo, and really not in Veo, and out in Prospect. Really enjoyed that.
I
And
live
so,
I
yeah,
live very close to Middletown. I was there when you were there.
yeah. I was there for 15 years. I wasn't there all the time. I was working on cruise ships. I'd come home. I'd go to sea for like 6 months, then I'd come back, be home for 2 months, and back to sea. And
In
my
and out.
family, yeah, my family convinced me to buy a house in Kentucky because they said, "Oh, we'll look after it for you, and it's a great investment." And so I sold my Apple stock and bought this big house out there in Briar Hill Estates. And anyway, I lost a bunch of money on that deal. So
I'm sorry.
yeah, so tell me about you said something about publishing and novels. Tell me about that.
Well, in 2007, a
Hmm.
friend of mine approached me with the idea of publishing some of his books. He had about
Okay.
3 or 4 that were ready to publish.
Hmm.
I didn't know a lot about publishing, but I agreed to try to investigate that. And he wanted to set up his own publishing firm, and I convinced him that really was not a good idea because there are several firms that will print the books for you. And so we
Yeah,
started.
vanity. They call them vanity presses.
Well, no, it wasn't a vanity press. There are firms that do nothing but publish the books. They don't. They just print them. They don't
Yeah.
publish them, do any other work on them except that.
Oh,
And
they
they
print
have,
them and give them to you. Then you sell them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You just order them. You give them the camera ready copy. They print them and send them back to you.
Mm,
That's all they do.
yeah. So that's what he did. Yeah,
Oh,
the guy John Grisham actually did that with his very first book. He published it like that, and in his basement he had boxes and boxes of unsold books, hardback. And today, those books, first edition, first book he ever wrote, are worth thousands of dollars.
oh yeah. We have,
So yeah,
I've got a big shed full of books down there right now.
yeah, I heard that before. So you also were involved in you had an auction house for thoroughbred horses.
Yeah, I got involved with thoroughbred horses back, I think, about 50 years ago. A friend of mine and I bought a horse at the Keeneland sale in Lexington, which is probably one of the premier sales around the world. And we bought the horse and had it trained. We did fairly well. We had a few more horses after that.
Well,
And
how
then,
much was that horse? If you don't mind me asking, how much was that horse?
excuse me, how much did it
How
cost?
much? Yeah, that horse. How much?
About $6,800. I remember
Oh,
exactly.
that's not too bad. Yeah, because I know. I mean, being in Kentucky, I've heard horses selling for hundreds of thousands,
Oh, millions. They sell for millions
millions.
times.
Wow.
The Keeneland
Mm,
sale, they'll sell several every year that are worth over $1 million.
no kidding.
But
Wow.
we weren't flying in that kind of company, okay?
Mm. But you trained the horse and raced the horse, and it won some races.
I did not train the horse. I turned the horse. My partner and I turned the horse over to a trainer, and
Okay. Yeah.
horse. We bought the horses a year, and then he
Mm.
trained it over about 6 or 8 months. And then when the races opened up in the spring in Kentucky, he entered the horse. I think the first race was at Keeneland. Yes, our first race was at Keeneland, and that was a kind of a nightmare because our jockey didn't show up, and that was a real problem. But we raced and didn't do very well. But then the next week, Churchill Downs opened up. That's where they hunt. That's where they hold the Kentucky Derby.
Oh yeah.
We brought the horse up to Churchill on a Monday and raced her there then, and she won the race.
No
And
kidding.
oh yeah,
Wow, that's great.
that was an incredible day. I can tell you that itself is a long story, but
That is really something right there. Wow. Now,
then
what does it cost for the people that don't know anything about horse racing? What does it cost to enter a horse in a race? Is it always the same amount at like Churchill Downs, or does it depend on the race, if it's a Kentucky Derby or what it is, or what's it cost to get a horse in a race?
well, there's about 4 levels of racing. I mean, first of all, there's a claiming level of racing, and then there's an allowance race, and then there are stakes races, and then there are graded stakes races. The graded stakes races being the better of all 4.
Mm-hmm.
It costs nothing to enter a horse maiden race or an allowance race. But now the different stakes races, it may cost you anywhere from $100 to Churchill Downs. All that you have to nominate them when they're a 2-year-old, and or yearling, and then you have to pay about $50,000 in fees to get them in the race.
Into
So
one race? One race?
oh yeah, one race.
Oh, wow. Whoa. Not for me.
Well, if you've got a good horse, that's not a big deal. All right. If you won $200,000 or $300,000 in purses before that race, that you don't have a problem. If you've got the horse, you'll put up the money. Don't worry about it. All right. Because you'll have the money in the Kentucky Derby, you have to win about $200,000 or $300,000 in purses before you can even enter into the Kentucky Derby. And that race alone, there are several steps, the payments you've got to make, but that they'll end up being about $50,000 before you can put them in a Derby. But if the horse is that good, you don't really care about the $50,000. We race.
How many horses are in the Kentucky Derby? I forget how many they have in that race. It's like 16 or something, isn't it? A lot.
I think they limited to 16 or 20 now. I'm not sure, but I think it's either they've only got enough gates to accommodate. I think 16, maybe 20. I'm not really sure at this stage.
And so there's only three people are going to walk out with any money. The rest are all going to lose their money.
Well, actually, 4 people will walk out some money. It pays all the way down to the 4th level.
Okay, the 4th level. Okay.
If you win the race, you're probably going to win about $2 million or better. And if you finish 4th, you're probably still going to get. I haven't figured it out, but you win about 5% of whatever the winnings are. That could amount to $100,000 or so. But that's the only 4 people who have any that will have any recovery from that race. But if you win, it's a pretty good little pot.
So why did you get out of it?
Well, I lived in Louisville at the time, and I moved and took another job after I left Louisville. And it was still in Kentucky, but it just got to be too much of a burden to deal with after that. At one point in time, I had 11 horses. And at that point in time, I took another job and moved. And it just got to be too hard to take care of all of that. And so I decided I'd just sell them off, which I did.
Yeah, horses are expensive to take care of. I had one horse when I lived out in Utah. My daughter was like 7 years old, and she was visiting her grandmother with her mother in England, and I was home in Utah. And a friend of mine raised miniature horses. He said, "Hey, Mark, I've got this miniature horse, and looking to sell it. And are you interested? Well, how much is it?" And they said, "Well, it was like $250 with the saddle."
Right.
I said, "Okay, that sounds good, you know." And so I was on 20 acres, but it wasn't fenced. So I get this horse and I bring it home. I never owned a horse. I knew zero about horses, zero. And so the first thing I realized is, okay, I need to put up a fence. It cost me thousands of dollars to put up a fence and to put up a little barn for her. And that horse cost me so much money. I mean, all the time. She used to escape all the time. And the ranchers next door, I was surrounded by big ranches. They had like big rodeo horses. And they'd actually enter in in the rodeos. And they call me. I said, "Hey, Mark, your horse is over here again. Can you come get it?" Because she'd escape. She'd find holes in the fence and she'd get away.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'd go over there and I'm walking there holding my little tiny horse, and these cowboys on their big horses just laughing at me. And they thought I was ridiculous. And
well, and if you're running thoroughbred horses, you hire a trainer. And the trainer keeps that horse and feeds it and trains it. That normally will cost you anywhere from $30 to $50 a day to train.
A day, wow.
A day.
Wow.
And it depends on the trainer. If you've got a big name trainer like Fletcher or D. Wayne Lucas or somebody like, I don't think or Bob Bafford, those guys may charge $100. I don't know what they charge. I haven't paid one of them, but it's a lot of money just to keep a horse. So you're looking at anywhere from, if you're just at a regular trainer and not one of the big time name trainers, then you're looking at a cost of at least $1,000 a month. And that $50 a day doesn't include vet bills and that sort of thing. But it can get very expensive. It got very expensive for me, but I had some decent horses. It wasn't the money. The problem was I just wanted to stay. I'm sort of a macro type on horses. I wanted to stay on top of it, and I couldn't stay on top of it and live where I lived. And so I got out of it.
Now, you mentioned in the email you sent me that you're a widower.
Yeah.
And so, how long ago did you lose your wife?
Well, she died about 3 years ago, uh,
Mm,
on February the 11th of 18 of 2018.
mm,
Now, we had gotten a divorce a little bit before that for the simple reason that it's complicated, but she had long-term care insurance, and financially it was better if we got a separation to a nursing home. She was in a nursing home about the last 5 years that she lived. I got back together. I had to care for her about 10 years. Then it got to the point with multiple sclerosis where I couldn't take care of her. And so I had to put her in a skilled nursing facility. And she was there for about 5 years. But by the time she went into that skilled nursing facility, she really didn't recognize her own family or me or anybody. She was in pretty dire straits at that stage.
well, that sounds really hard.
It
Well,
was very tough.
I mean, that's one thing about America with like the healthcare system there that, a guy like you that's in a marriage and you have to divorce your wife or separate from your wife just so she can get into a nursing home. I mean, that's just wrong. That's so wrong.
You can get into a nursing home without getting divorced, but in our case, she was getting Social Security disability. I was getting Social Security on the other hand.
Hmm.
It just made more sense financially for us to separate and divorce because the way that their long-term care facility insurance worked out, it was just better that way.
Yeah,
Very,
I can see. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
yeah. But
And
now
so you had one, sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, you had mentioned in your email that you had been on these dating sites and met a Filipina,
Yeah.
and she scammed you out of $2,000. Like, tell me what happened there.
Well, I looked at American dating sites probably for about a year after I moved where I live now. I
Hmm.
bought a house here in a small town south of Lexington, which is fairly close to Louisville.
Mm.
And I had been on a couple of dating sites because I didn't think it was a big deal. I traveled a bit, but I didn't think it was a big deal. So for about a couple of years, I looked on American dating sites,
Hmm.
and I just was not very happy with the results. I only ended up having 2 dates, and both of those were kind of disasters. They were just luncheon dates, really.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, After that, I started casting a wider net, and so I started looking at other areas. I read a great deal on Filipino culture, and I really liked it because my days when I grew up in the 1950s, their culture reminded me of that strong family values and that sort of thing.
I think that's a good comparison. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, I just that it was a kind of a bucolic existence for me when I was a teenager.
Hmm.
And so that brought that back to me. And so I started looking on Filipino dating sites and I did a lot of research. I mean, I don't just went on to them willy nilly, but I signed up. I think I signed up for 6 months. And then I went off for a while. Then I came back. Then I found a lady in Cebu, actually,
Hmm.
Cebu City.
Yeah.
And it began. Actually, I thought it was a pretty cool combination because I was having trouble even on the Filipino side of finding someone that I thought I could have a little bit of magic with.
Hmm.
And so I didn't like any of them. So there was one lady that I liked who was on the dating side, but she had 2 kids, and I didn't. I thought I was too old to deal with that.
Hmm.
And so I told her, I said, "Do you have any friends that you might give them my name, give them my email address?" And she did, and there were a couple of them that contacted me off of that referral. And I thought, well, that's pretty safe to get, to have one lady who's on and then send you 2 of her friends that are off the service. So I went ahead, but it went on for about, I'd say 6 or 8 months, and it just got to be worse and worse. And the first 2 or 3 months, I didn't send her any money at all. I mean, I was careful about that, but then it was things like you're going to hear on all these other sites about loads and for their phone.
Hmm.
And one time she had her phone stolen, and then I had to replace the phone. And then there was a typhoon. I had to put her up in a hotel for a couple of nights. So the typhoon blew over, and then she got sick from some sort of female problem. And I checked it out because I know all those diagnoses and everything. But she was pretty good at it, and she soaked me for probably about $1,500 for medication to try to take care of that problem. And then
Mm.
she came back, and I didn't want to go over there, so I said, "Let's get you a passport, and you can come over here." And I sent her about $400, $500 for the passport. Then she went down. She said she'd went to the wrong agency, and they'd scammed her, and she didn't have a passport and no money. And then long story short, I paid for another passport, which is really stupid. And this went on. I probably put about 2,500 in it. And at the end of the day, I got some sort of a letter from her, an email from her sister, telling me that she had died from a heart attack. And so I had already told her, though. I said, "That's it. I'm not sending you any more money." I said, "It's."
How old was this girl?
I think she was 27 at the time. She worked at a factory in Cebu
Mm.
City. I mean, I'm sure of that part of it, but I think she started lying a couple of times, and I think I just got too easy after a while.
Yeah.
And finally, I just
Well,
pulled the
so
curtain.
you don't have any interest in actually going to the Philippines, though, right? Or you do?
Oh no, I'm coming to the Philippines. I'm going to try to get there if I can, if this COVID thing ever lets up.
Now, do you plan on retiring there? Or you just want to visit there?
Oh, I'm going to retire there. I think because I think
Okay.
I like the
Yeah.
culture. I like the islands. I like the cheaper cost of living, obviously, than you have here. So I'm going to retire. I'm not necessarily looking for a girlfriend or a wife because I'm at that age where that's not a critical factor for me.
Right.
But I like the Philippines. I've isolated about 3 separate areas that I'd like to look into. Valencia being one of them, where you've lived.
Yeah, Valencia is really nice. What's nice about Valencia is you're a higher elevation of that's 3,000 feet above sea level, so it's cooler there. A lot of
Yes,
expats living there too, and
I would.
several nice choices on places to live that are not expensive at all. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good choice. But yeah, I think I would wait until like once you can actually come here, come here and check it out and see things. I'm happy to show you around. That's my neighborhood.
well,
Um,
I'm
but
going to take.
then
I'm going to come.
if you want a girlfriend, you're not going to go on.
I said I'm going to try to come for at least 6 weeks and maybe 2 months, and
That's a
I'm
good
going to
amount of time. That's a good amount of time.
I'm going to check out Tagaytay and Valencia. I like Tagaytay, but I worry about Mount Tall, which is very close to it erupting. So that's that volcano up outside in Martin Therese or something up in that. There's a lake there that there's a
Yeah.
volcano coming out of the lake. But anyway, I'm going to look at that. I may look at Cebu because of the medical care situation. But
Well, that's a good point because Cebu does have better medical care, more hospitals and stuff. They've got some good hospitals here too. Silliman and another one just opened up. That's pretty good.
I'm 72, so I've got to be a little, and I'm in reasonably good health, but I'm at that age where anything can happen any day. You understand?
Well, me too. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, what some of these guys I've met that are in their 70s and even their 80s, rather than having a girlfriend, what they've got is a caretaker, and who just basically, is a housekeeper. Kind of does everything, looks after them, does the shopping, does the cooking, cleans the house and all, laundry, all that stuff, and they pay her, $200-300 a month, and
Well,
they're perfectly happy. And it's like it's a companion, and they want a companion more. They're not looking for a sexual relationship. So they've got
well,
a really nice, honest person helping them out, and it works out well for them.
so I'd much rather do that than lay around in some nursing home in the United States. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, me too. 100%. 100. Because here, you could afford to hire a real nurse, an actual
Yeah, yeah.
person that's a nurse, to be your caretaker, that do everything. You pay her well, and probably, $300 a month. You could get a real nurse to be a live-in companion, and not only look after you in your later years, but also do the cooking and just be a companion. I know guys that have done that very thing, and they're very happy. They're very happy.
I would much rather do that, and I think I'll have the financial wherewithal to do that. But
Yeah.
what I wanted to ask you, Mark, I need to ask you
Mm.
several questions
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
I
Whatever you
think
want.
there's a lot of guys in my category that watch your show and enjoy it a lot. But we're a little bit leery about coming into a country at our age where we don't know what in the hell is going on. I want to cover with you what you really need from the day that you decide you're going to go and you're going to take that 1 to 2 month exploratory trip. Now, my understanding is that first of all, you get that passport, you get a passport card, you get yourself a couple of credit cards that will be recognized, a couple of ATM cards, and that once you land with all this, then you walk from, if I go into Cebu City, you walk right out of the airplane to the desk and they stamp you with a tourist visa. Is that your understanding?
Correct.
What they do? And then,
the one thing you do need that, okay, go on.
well, assuming that that's all true, then I understand that you're free to go. Well, if COVID's fairly well over at that stage, and I've had both inoculations, both vaccine shots, I'm trying to say, that I could get an airplane down to Dumaguete and go to an Airbnb and begin to check out Valencia in that area there. And then I could fly
go
back
anywhere. Yeah.
Then I could fly back to Cebu and stay up there for 3 weeks to a month and check out the medical scene in all places. But I really want to get a feel for what I'm doing, that I'm not way over my head at my age. You follow me?
Well, that's a very smart way to do it, Paul. Very smart way. But one thing you're going to need is on your first, on any trip, is what's called a throwaway ticket, because you can't fly into pretty much any country with a one-way ticket. So you won't need that. However, if you have a round trip, like if you know when you're going home.
Yes.
Go on.
On my exploratory trip, I plan on having a round trip ticket.
Oh, so you got no problems. You can show that you're leaving. But the problem is going to be if you're planning on staying for over 30 days, you might still need that throwaway ticket, which is no big deal. There's lots of websites. Just go throwawayticket.com, whatever, and search, read the reviews. And like I bought mine from a website. I can't remember the name, it was so long ago, but I paid like less than $20 for it. Well, and they sent me an email. But the thing is about these throwaway tickets, you got to use them within 48 hours.
Right.
And there's like certain stipulations. You're basically renting a ticket. But yeah, I printed it out when I got at the airport. They're checking you. They'd be checking you in Kentucky. They're not checking you once you get to the Philippines. It's in Kentucky where they check you. So at the airport, that's where they check you. So you're checking in, and you're okay. I got a one-way ticket or a round trip ticket to the Philippines and come back in 2 months. Then they're going to want to see your other ticket, and you just print it out. You just show it to them. They okay, fine, that's it.
Sure.
And then when you get to Cebu, they'll give you a 30-day visa, and then you can extend that. In Cebu, it's really easy. They've got an immigration down at the mall. So you can go in the mall.
I thought I'd probably do that in Dumaguete. Go down to the immigration office.
Yeah, you can do it there too. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you can do it there too, but you have to do it 2 weeks before your visa expires, I think. And it only costs like $25. It's really easy. You fill out a little form, real simple. Boom, they stamp your passport. They give it back to the next day. It's really easy.
You walk into that office and give them your whatever.
Give them your passport. Fill out a little form they give you, and that's it. It's easy. So you won't have a problem doing that. But I think that's a really good plan, Paul. And you might be better off in Cebu, or I don't know. But you have to check out both places and see. You have to see what feels comfortable for you. Like maybe you go to Cebu and you'll just feel great there, and you meet a lot of other guys. There's a lot more expats living there than there is here. You might, I'm
going to look at the hospitals too. I'm going to go up and visit the hospital.
Very good idea. Yeah, good idea. And bring any medications that you're on.
Sure.
Bring double. And if you decide to move here, like what I did is I was usually when you say I'm on blood pressure medicine, I can get 3 months supply, in one prescription. So I go to Walmart, buy all 3 months supply. But my doctor gave me 2 prescriptions. So I went to Walmart, got 3 months, and went to like CVS and got another 3 months. So I came here with 6 months supply of medication. And you can still get the medication here. If it's anything that's not an opioid, like Ambien and things like that, just regular medication, you can get those out of prescription here. Just bring your bottle, take it down to the pharmacy, and
I don't take any pain medication, so most of I only take 2 medications. They're pretty straightforward. They're non-narcotics, so I don't think I'll have a problem. But I understand they're a lot higher over there.
But sometimes, like I take lisinopril, which is a very common blood pressure medicine. But there's been times I had to go to 3 pharmacies to find it. They were just out of stock. So that's why it's good to have extra.
Well, I'm going to have enough when I come on my exploratory visit. If I make a permanent move, I'm going to come with probably 6 months to a year's worth. All right.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
I like to get my doctor to do that for me. But I
Yeah.
thought I'd check out the hospital, check out the apartments. I'll get me an Airbnb and kind of base out of there and come down and meet some of you guys at Tom Tom's or Why Not or wherever, and
Yeah.
then move around a little bit and see what the transportation situation is, because I'm not going to be able to do any long distance walking like some of you guys do. But
Well, also, yeah, I don't think you should be riding a motorbike either at your age either.
oh
So I
no,
think I'd stay away from that.
it'd
Yeah.
be the first time I've sat on a motorbike if I did that, so I'm not going to do that. But
No.
I'll probably end up getting some sort of a three-wheel bicycle or something like that, and operate that way initially. I don't plan on buying a car. I'm just going to ride the whatever transportation is available, because
Well, you might be better off in Cebu then, because they've got more transportation there than they do here. Like, we don't have taxis here. We
Right.
have what's called tricycles, basically a motorcycle with a sidecar on it. They're very uncomfortable. They're very cheap, but they're uncomfortable. And the thing also is that, like in America, you can hop in a taxi and take it from 100 miles if you want to. Where here they've got areas. Like if you get in a tricycle and he's only allowed to use his tricycle in that area. Like, for example, we go to the mall, we buy a bunch of stuff, we want to come home with it.
Sure.
We got to get two different tricycles, because you can't take one. You got to transfer buses or planes or whatever. So it's a bit of a pain. What some guys do though is they hire somebody that's like their part-time driver, and whether he's got a tricycle or car or whatever, and they just call the guy up when they want to go someplace. But in Cebu, it's my understanding that they've got Grab and they've got Lyft and things like that, where you can just call up and a car comes pick you up anytime you want, takes you wherever you want to go. And they've also got taxis. So that would be much better probably for you.
That's what I think I'm going to depend on, because Dumagetti, for example, sounds so chaotic from a traffic standpoint. I don't want to deal with all that. I can't,
Yeah.
So I'll try the tricycles for a little while. If that's really uncomfortable, then I'll just start using the cab, or I'll hire someone to come and drive me around. But I think it'll be reasonably enough. It's better than me trying to fool with a car over there. But I'm going to check all that stuff out.
Even drive. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and of course you'll meet other expats too, and they'll give you advice too. There's so many guys over here, and the thing about it being an expat in the Philippines, you kind of stand out. So like you'll go to the mall or you'll go to the market or wherever, and other guys will see you and they'll strike up a conversation with you. And next, like I've got more friends here than I ever had in America my whole life. I've got so many friends, and I know so many people. Of course, my channels help too, but I know so many people.
Sure.
And you'll find the same thing. You'll just find it really easy to make friends here.
Well, that's another problem with this country. Everybody sort of goes home and locks themselves in over here. You don't make a lot of friends. I've got a couple of neighbors that I know pretty well, but I live in a small subdivision about 6 miles out of a small town, and I don't see my neighbors except the two guys that I know fairly well, and the one other guy's pretty sick, so I don't see him much either. So that's another problem in this country. Of course, I think rising inflation is going to be a big problem here, and I think
I do too.
It's just we're getting so many Mexicans and so many people coming out of Central America that are coming right across the border, and they're just millions of them. They're everywhere, and the endangered species in this country is an old white man, and so I'm a little bit leery about what's going to happen in this country, because it's getting pretty tough over here. And I'm worried about that, and I just want to get out. I don't have any family left here. I've got a couple of pretty decent friends. I've got one or two cousins that I really like very well, but I don't have anyone that I could really deal with, and I've given up on trying to establish a social life as an older 72-year-old man. I just don't fool with it anymore. I go see my friends. I go see my cousins. I go to the store, and it's not a life. Do you understand?
Yeah, well, the thing is, and as you get older, that circle's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, and you're going to be like this old guy in your house by yourself.
Sure. 20 years ago, I had 10 really good friends, and 8 of them have died. I'm down to 2, all right? And so and you can't make good friends that easily. You know what I mean? It's just, and I think over in...
Oh, I know, yeah.
In the Philippines, I think it appears to be a lot easier to make friends over there. than it is here. I
It's
can't.
very easy to make friends, but you got to be careful who you make friends with too, because there's some losers over here,
Oh
and
yeah,
there's some like guys that the reason they're here because nobody wants them wherever they came from. So I was when I first came here, I met some guys like that. The ones that they're drinking 9 o'clock in the morning, or they're using a lot of profanity, or they're just like you can just tell they're losers and they're
well,
bullshitters. But there's
I,
also some really cool guys over here. I've met some really interesting men, and now I have a
yeah.
whole different circle of friends, and a lot of them are very, very successful before they ever came to the Philippines.
Well, I don't.
And
So I'm not going to hang around with the guys just going to booze it up every night. I'm not in.
yeah,
So I don't know.
so,
I have a feeling that's what I'll find out. Over time.
well, if you come in this area, I'll introduce you to people. And in Cebu, there's a lot more expats over there than there is here, and so you'll
Well,
find it very easy. There's one place, there's a coffee shop in the mall there where a lot of guys go and just kind of meet people. Like coffee shops are the big things, and you know, the best thing is you got to kind of be a people person when you go to the mall and you see a bunch of guys sitting around. Walk in and get your coffee. Hey, how you doing? I'm Paul. I just got here, and they'll invite you to sit down. Next thing you know, you'll you'll have friends, and I get invited to so much stuff. Like I went to a wedding yesterday. I'm going to a birthday party today. I mean, constantly getting invited. So we're going to some resort on Sunday. So I just get so much stuff. My social life is just crazy here.
well, I watched up in Cebu, Geo,
Yeah,
and
I know Gio.
yeah, and Paul Asian Adventures. He's up there now. So I
Hmm.
watched those guys. And I would figure that when I go to Cebu, I'll try to figure out a way to meet them.
Yeah,
And
Rike's over there too.
pardon?
No, Rike went back to California, but I think he's coming back.
I
Yeah, there's
don't.
lots of guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've watched Rico. I've been looking at YouTube videos now for probably about 6 or 7 months, and
Okay.
I think I've seen them all. I watch you, and I watch the old dog up the hill there, and then I watch
Mhm.
Geo, and I watch Paul's Asian Adventures, and I like that Critter Hunters guy, the guy that does the marine
Yeah,
life.
he's a good friend of mine. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I like that sort of thing. I don't do any diving or snorkeling, but I like the
Mhm.
marine life situation. And
Yeah.
I figured I'll try to find some good Filipino friends. I've had a
Well,
couple.
yeah. There's a
Yeah,
lot of them here. There's a lot of
sure.
them here.
And so I'll do all that, but I want to get a feel for those kinds of things too. You understand?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I
I,
think I like it. I think I'll end up coming over there, and I think I'll end up being permanent over there. But I want to spend a couple of months to figure out if it's really my thing.
Yeah, you got to do that. You can't. It's one thing seeing videos online, and the same thing for me. Like I watched. I was going to go to Thailand. I watched a few videos about the Philippines, so I'll try it out for a couple
Sure.
weeks, mainly because of the cost of living and also because of the language, which is a big plus here. That everybody speaks some English, and that was a big plus. So I came over here, and for me, after the first couple of weeks, first couple of weeks were a little rough getting used to things. And plus, I came over here with hardly any money, and then it just kept getting better and better and better. And it's the same way every day; it gets better for me here, and it's been going on 2 years now, and it
Well,
just keeps getting better.
I think my money situation will be okay for that, but I'm more interested in knowing exactly what I need to have before I come over. The things I need to bring for me personally, the documents I need to bring, and arranging the transfer of money from the states to over there.
No,
Those,
no, no! Don't transfer any money. Don't
I
do any
mean,
of that.
I
Here's
mean,
what yeah, but here's what I do. I just take the money out of the ATM, pay the fees. If you
that's
get
what.
if you get a Charles Schwab account and put your money in there, there's no ATM fees. You pay
That,
nothing. So I mean, you got your debit card with you. There's ATMs here. Just go to the ATM, take the money out as you need it. It's way easier. It's way
that's.
easier. You keep your money in America. Don't bring it over here.
Oh no, I'm not bringing any large
Yeah,
amount of money over there. I'm just going to go
yeah,
get what I need for that 2 weeks or a month or whatever.
yeah.
Charles Schwab is my plan A, but I
Mm.
want to have a plan B and then a plan C too because I don't want to get hung out high and dry over
Yeah, yeah, and bring like I'd say in cash, bring like $1,000 in cash, and then as soon as you get here, transfer it over into the pesos.
there. Right,
Um, and like I said, your medications, all you need is your passport. You'll get your visa at the airport.
right.
Travel light that first trip. Don't bring a whole bunch of stuff with you. Um, get yourself a good cell phone. I don't know if you got a good cell phone now. I think you said you didn't have one, so you
No,
need to get yourself.
I'm going to buy a Samsung 21. Okay, and they say that's a pretty good phone, from what I understand.
Yeah, there might be more phone than you need though. That might be. How much is that phone? Do you know?
You can get one for about $450, $500.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah,
They
yeah.
have
So
a
going.
they
Yeah,
have a 21 Ultra, which goes up to a grand. All right,
yeah.
but
There's one that I got I got the Samsung Galaxy S10,
okay,
which and that phone is water resistant. Like you drop it in the water, and as long as you pick it up, don't leave
what
it there. It'll
what do
be
you
okay.
what do you
Huh?
use to film your vlogs? What do you use there?
My
With
Samsung. I use my all my channels done with the Samsung phone. Everything.
SR10?
S10.
S
Samsung Galaxy S10.
I might
And
look.
that phone's been out for like 2 years, so they're much cheaper if you can find one.
I may
You
just
know,
do that then.
yeah, it's a really good phone, very easy to use.
Birth
But yeah,
certificate.
so and don't get one on a plan. Like don't go to like AT&T
Oh,
and one
unlock.
on a plan. You got to buy it unlocked, and then when you get here, the first thing you do is go to they're everywhere at the malls and stuff. Go to any cell phone shop and whatever, and buy yourself 2 SIM cards. There's one for Globe and one for Smart. They're the 2 companies here, and they
Okay,
just stick them in your phone, and you top them up, and you can top them up almost anywhere. You go to 7-Eleven, even these little sorry stores can top up your phone, and
that's what
all you do is like that SIM card will give you a phone number. It comes with a phone number,
that's
and
what
yeah,
that's what they call a load.
yeah, that's what they call a load. So it's
Yeah,
really easy and it's really cheap. So you put like $10 down on each one of those, and and then as you need it, you go in, you dial a number. You got like it's star 123#. Okay, and it comes up, and then you pick which plan you want. Like I usually pick, internet, phone, whatever, and click on that, click buy, and boom, you got it, and your phone's working. And then all of a sudden, when you run out, you go absolutely anywhere and top it up again. It's so easy, so much better than the way it is in America. It really is.
there
You'll
you
find
have.
once you do it for a while, it's real easy. And plus, all these people that sell the load and stuff, they can explain it to you. Like, you say, well, this is what I want. I want to be able to use it for a month, and they'll tell you which one to choose. They'll help you with it.
You need one SIM for international calling and another SIM for local.
No, 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 no. It's Globe and Smart, the 2 plans you got. If you want to call international, you use Facebook Messenger or you use Skype, which are free, or you
Okay,
use or another one is WhatsApp. Get WhatsApp on. WhatsApp will be on your phone already, and
that's
set up
yeah,
that account before you leave. Have somebody show you how to use that. And
right.
with WhatsApp, you can call anywhere in America. But the best thing is let's say you have, your family, if they have Facebook, then you can use Facebook Messenger. That's what I use. I call my family with Facebook Messenger and have a video chat, just like you and I are having, and it's free,
I
totally
don't.
free.
I know, but I don't like Facebook. I just don't like it. I don't like Zuckerberg, and I don't like what they've done over here, and a lot of things I just don't like. It's a personal thing, okay. But
Oh,
I used to use Google Hangout, which is about the same thing.
yeah, but
Uh,
there's various choices you can use, but
yeah,
whatever one you want to choose. You can also use Apple FaceTime is another one, but you have to have an Apple product to do that. But anyway, there's many ways to talk to people back home. And here's another one you can do Magic Jack. I
that's what.
did that.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I think.
Yeah, because I've got a Magic Jack, and you can choose your state, that you want to have your area code from. I chose Utah because I used to live there, and
Right.
so a couple months ago, my brother called me on my Magic Jack phone number, and at the time I was talking to him on Messenger, and I went outside to show him the beach, and I lost signal because I was too far away from the router,
Right.
and then oh no, and I know what happened. The internet went out. We lost the internet
Oh,
that day. And then he called me on Magic Jack and it worked. I was surprised. We had a video. You can have a video chat on Magic Jack,
did
and
you
you
have
just
a
pay.
number? Did you have a number in the states? Was your phone number in the states? And
Well,
he called,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
It's like
then he
it's like
transferred you over here.
yeah. It's just like he's calling, just like he was calling Utah.
Right. And then when it hits your Utah phone, your number in Utah, then it automatically forwarded to your number over here.
No, no. It's direct. It's direct, It
Okay.
works really great. It's just like the good thing about it is like, let's say you move over here and you've got your credit card or your bank wants to send you, to authenticate something. Sometimes they'll send you a text and they'll
Okay.
say like, put in these numbers, this way you've got an American phone number that you can use. So it's really handy for banking and all kinds of different things. You've got an American phone number.
For renewing credit cards and that sort
Yeah,
of thing.
all that stuff. Yeah, it's really good for that.
When he
And then
calls, when he calls you at your phone number in Utah, it just rings over here. Is that what
yeah,
happened?
that's right. It doesn't matter where in the world, anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter where I'm at.
You're there.
Yeah. And so then I could call anybody in America just like I'm calling from America.
Oh, well, I'm going to get the Magic Jack. That's what I thought would occur, and that's what I'm going to do. I'll probably maintain a phone number here, and then I'll just take the Magic Jack and use that phone number to get calls from friends or whatever. I don't have any real family, so I don't worry about that. But all that grief is already over with.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I'm trying to come at this from a perspective of what do I need to know coming over there on the plane. And I get from the plane, I probably go down and switch to take a Filipino airline down to Dumaguete and then get a taxi or something from that.
Well, if you're gonna fly, what happens if you're gonna fly into Cebu, Mactan Airport, which is what I did, then you take another plane over to Dumaguete, and it's or you can take a ferry, but a plane's better. And then you get to Dumaguete, and you'll be downtown, right downtown. But I recommend just since you're going to check out both Cebu and Dumaguete, why don't you stay in Cebu first? Stay in Cebu first, and get an Airbnb there. Then, after 2 weeks there, come over to Dumaguete. You can just take the ferry right over. It's real cheap. It's a nice ride, actually.
And I could get maybe Gio or Paul or some expat up there to kind of scope me out where I need to go and what I need to do that, right?
Yeah, well, it's real easy. I mean, the ferry, I can see Cebu from here. That's the other end of it, where Cebu City is. I can't remember how long the ferry ride is. I don't remember, but it's a few hours on a ferry. Come over here.
They tell me 6 hours. What they tell me.
Yeah, that could be right. Yeah, that could be right. Yeah. And they've got like these bunks out on deck. You can lay out there on deck, and take a nap, whatever you want to do. It's pretty easy.
I've seen some inside shots of the ferry, so I've seen a lot of that on, but I'm trying to bring it all together. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You think I ought to bring $1,000 or so with me on the plane?
Oh yeah.
And then just get that converted when I get here, and then hit the ATMs for money periodically after that.
Yeah, well, that balance of dollars will last you a really long time.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, if you're staying in Airbnb and you pay for that on your credit card, so that's already paid.
Right.
So all you're going to have is your expenses. So and I wouldn't even change it all at once. Like do like $500, and when you run out of that, do another 500 or 100, whatever you need. 5,000 pesos can last you a long time. That's $100.
Right. Okay. And I need to bring. I'm going to bring a birth certificate.
No, you don't need that. No, you don't need that. You don't need your birth certificate. No, you don't need that. All you need is your passport and your driver's license, man. Don't take your birth certificate.
I'm going to get the little passport card. Is that any good? They make
it. Yeah, I know. You can get that too, but you need your real passport.
In other words, if I get stopped by the cops in Dumaguete, I can't just the passport card.
Yeah, you probably can, but I mean, as far as traveling, you need the passport.
Yeah, I just worry. I worry. I keep them in two separate places anyway.
Yeah, you need it.
If you lose your passport, they say the card makes it easier to get a replacement passport.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably does, but yeah, you just bring your passport. You need that.
Okay.
You get the card. You get the card if you want, but your passport, your driver's license, and is all you need. And your credit. I wouldn't even bring all your credit cards. I would only bring like maybe 2.
That's all. Bring.
Yeah, and your debit card. Yeah.
And
then of course you gotta call them up and let them know you're coming here too, and how long you're going to be here.
Oh yeah, I'll do that too. I understand. I may just maintain my bank account here and see if they'll take.
Oh yeah.
If they could just take an ATM card from there, just hit an ATM in.
Well, your ATM will work. Should work anywhere in the world.
Well,
what bank are you with?
This is a small bank. It's First Southern Bank. It's in Somerset, Kentucky.
Well, you just need to go into your bank and tell them where you're going, and I'm sure they'll tell you. But if for some reason they don't, like I use PNC, and I've had no trouble at all.
Right. Well, this bank is more of a local bank than it is a statewide bank like PNC. And
Yeah,
I've
but usually ATMs work everywhere.
okay.
Debit cards.
Okay. That's all the questions I got. You got any more for me?
No, I think that's about it. We've gone an hour, so that's usually about as long as I go on these. My voice starts to go. But
Yeah.
glad you made it on there, Paul, and really nice talking to you. Best of luck, and please look me up when you get over here, and I'm happy to show you around and introduce you to my friends. And
Well, if
you know,
if any of those guys are over there writing a book, I'll tell them how to get it printed. All right.
okay. But yeah, I think you'll find it, really nice over here. It's stress free. You'll meet a lot of friends and have a whole nother life. I think it will really open up, some opportunities for you to expand, your social circle and have a good retirement in your later years. So I think you're doing the right thing. And if it doesn't work, you can always go back. It's like nobody's going to keep you from going back. So
I'm trying to reinvent some happiness. Do you understand?
yeah, that's a perfect place to do it.
That's what I'm thinking about. We'll see.
All right. Well, nice talking to you, Paul. You take care of yourself. And everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please share this video. And I will read all the comments and stuff later. And this will be on there. And
hit that like. Hit that like.
Hit that like button. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks.